Tide Talk with Webb is back. Woo! What's going on, guys? A little late getting this video out, but I will say we had one hell of a championship game. I mean, we had one player alone, Smith, who had 215 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 quarters. Excellent game plan. Sarkisian came through and was amazing. Like I said, I was so happy to hear he was going to go ahead and coach through the game. And like I said, he did a really phenomenal job in getting our guys in space, creating mismatches. Some of the things I did not understand was Ohio State ran a base 4-4 defense, which is 4 down linemen, 4 defensive backs, and then, 4 down linemen, 4 linebackers, 3 defensive backs. So they're playing essentially hardcore man coverage, trying to keep everything in front of them, and then pulling linebackers out to maybe double cover receivers. But that's a horrible game plan. Like, I get it. You want to stop Najee Harris, and you're like, well, if we stop him, we'll be fine. Well, in all honesty, we had one of the best receiving cores in the country. If Waddle had not been hurt, I don't even know if Smith would have won the Heisman, because at that point, Waddle was getting a lot more catches and a lot more yards than Smith at that point. Both Smith and Waddle were amazing pass catchers, but it was kind of amazing to me to see the evolution of Smith becoming this dominant beast, which I don't think if Waddle had not been hurt all year, like I said, I don't think Smith really would have won the Heisman. He'd had great numbers, but it's weird because they kind of left those linebackers in a bad position because, if one of the defensive back bites and pulls up or the safety pulls up, I don't understand that thinking because their linebackers are not fast enough to keep up with our receivers. We had one of the best receivers crews in the country, plus quarterbacks. I would have been more worried about stopping the pass game. Yeah, we can contain Harris. We can let him get a few runs. But even Harris had 83 yards on the ground, which is not stellar, or 79 yards rushing, which is not stellar. But he still had 2 TDs and 84 yards to 83 yards in pass catching. So essentially, he still had 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. And even people don't realize, even when Mechie went out at one point in the game, we were still getting yards, still getting touchdowns, still making scores, still progressing down the field, so they still couldn't stop us. Hats off to Ohio State. They're a great team, phenomenal club. They just weren't as good as Bama. I mean, this was one hell of a Bama team, and I know you got Colin Cowturd who keeps saying, well, Mac Jones is like a poor man's Burrow, and he's on a slow release, and he's playing in Alabama with all these great players. Like, he's a great quarterback. You could put him on a lot of teams, and he would have been very, very good. Now, don't get me wrong. We had one hell of an offensive line. I mean, he was protected all year phenomenally. I mean, that was one, I think, of the top 4 best lines to ever come through Alabama since Saban's been there. But hats off to the guys. You guys killed it. Quick notes, Andrew Zhao is actually leaving his current job, and he's going to go to Clemson as a player development coach. Basically, he's just going to make sure players get to class, they develop, become better men, all that good stuff. All the guys off this team that are going to the draft, which, it feels like we're getting gutted. We got Waddle, we got Jones, we've got Harris, we've got Surtain leaving early, Barmore leaving early, Waddle leaving early, Jones leaving early. Smith and Harris are the only 2 seniors that are leaving, but that still sucks as far as high-impact players. Excuse me. We do have possible returns in Brian Robinson at running back. We do have Josh Jobe, looks like he'll return, and so just Jonathan Allen as well. So that's really great things. Some news of note as well that really sucks. Sorry, my notes. We all knew Sarkisian was leaving. To me, he's probably the second best guy in college football besides Lane Kiffin at game planning and offensive strategies. Unfortunately, he's leaving. We saw that coming. Texas has always got a bug up their butt to try to get Alabama coaches or try to get Saban or what. Ever since the 2009 victory over them, they've just had it in for us, which is fine. Hire Sarkisian. He was a very good coach at Washington. He probably never should have went to USC because it was still a dumpster fire. They still had sanctions, so it was not a good fit or a good look for him. But that's okay. not a bad deal. They're going to take a little bit of a gamble on him. His overall record is almost 50-50 because he was so bad at USC because of everything that was going on. It wasn't USC itself. It was the sanctions. prior that Pete Carroll had put him under before he bolted. So he should have stayed at Washington. He made the playoffs at Washington. Actually played Alabama in one of the games. Phenomenal coach. Like I said, well, I don't think he was the coach then at that time, but he was a very good coach for them. I think he'll be a good head coach. But always seems to happen when we have coaches leave Alabama. Quit taking our coaches. Seriously, dude. Like, I even get Kyle Flood, the offensive line coach at Bama, leaving. I understand that. He's getting a pay bump. He's being offensive coordinator. That all makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Understand that. Still thinks Kyle Flood is a good recruiter. He's a good offensive line coach. But then he digs into the pool and takes the third best recruiter in the country from us, the special teams coordinator, Jeff Banks. Seriously, dude, go find your own guys. You coached at 2 other schools before Bama. Go get some of those guys, please. Anyway, some of the fallout from that is Jeff Banks recruited 3 of our top 3 recruits out of the state of Texas this past year, this 2021 cycle. Kamar Wheaton, which is a 5-star running back, said he's committed with Alabama, is going to sign with Alabama in February. I don't know if that'll happen. We may lose him due to all that and him staying at Texas and stuff. It will be harder for us to recruit out of Texas. Texas has been a dumpster fire for the last decade, so we've been able to go in there and get a lot of great players. It will become harder. It became harder when Jimbo Fisher got to Texas, as we've seen. But I still think we'll be able to have some success there. But, it sucks, so we just got to move on. Some news of note, we had this idea, we had this idea that Bill O'Brien, the ex-Texans head coach, will probably come or could come to Alabama to be an OC. Not excited about it. He doesn't fire me up. I'll have to look at some more of his stats on his coaching. His coaching was not great at overall record at the Texans. The thing I don't like about Bill O'Brien is I don't know if I believe in the guy. Overall, but I could be wrong. We'll see if he comes. That's still in the works. We don't know. Keep you updated on that. Like I said, I think the big connection that we have to him, he's been there twice looking around. People got suspicious. Maybe he's coming as the OC. And then you go back to the whole deal where he worked for Belichick for a lot of years. And I think that's kind of where the tie is, like, oh, maybe he'll come, or whatever. I kind of want Hugh Freeze, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, been great. I'll keep you updated on good things coming. Love it. Bama busted that ass. Yee! Y'all have a great one.